Another day, another gacha review, even though more than review is always more first impressions rather than a full-fledged review, and even more so in this case, because this time it's an open beta, so there's still opportunity for the developers to change some of the stuff that they have decided to go with. So this is Drive 9. Now Drive 9 is CCC, but when you are outside the fights, it looks like this. It looks like Octopath Traveler. The art style, it's amazing, and the art style will remind you, of course, of Danganronpa, because one of the creators or one of the directors is the guy making this game, of course, with his own studio now. So as you can see, the art style will remind you a lot of Danganronpa, which I don't think is a bad thing. Now, this also poses some questions, which is, for example, fan service. There is no fan service in the game, if that's what you're looking for. Like, the most fan service you'll see, it's on these cards when you are leveling up your characters for loops. This is like the most fan service you'll get in the game. So that's already like a small thing to take into consideration for a lot of people that watch my channel. At the end of the day, I'm someone known for, I only like fan service gachas. I play gacha games to collect characters that look good, right? So if you give me good currency or good currency income and decent rates, I like a gacha. However, it's not the case for this game, because this game has awful rates, meaning you most likely will not be able to pull for all the characters, or even for like most of them. They also have a weapon banner. Now, weapon banners are something that I ignore in 99% of gachas. In all my time playing gacha games, the only time I pulled on a weapon banner was in Wuthering Waves. I pulled for a couple of the weapons because I was spending more money, and then I was like, chill Sefhi before you start going more deep into this game. So weapon banners are something that I personally don't like, that I despise. And the gacha in this game is the worst part, in my opinion. This is a game that's not competing with waifu collectors. This is a game that is going to be aiming towards the people who enjoy JRPGs, to the people who enjoy games like Danganronpa, and to people who enjoy games like CCC, like Honkai Star Rail, because it's aiming towards more a story, and then everything else is a little bit worse compared to collecting waifus and then everything else being mid, like could be the case for Azur Lane. Amazing waifus, awful gameplay. In this case, you have decent-ish, pretty basic gameplay. I'll show it to you in a second. And then you have a really bad gacha, but you have the main focus being the story, the sound, the characters, etc. So that's what's the main focus of the game, and that's where they might have a chance at surviving, but I don't see this game making a lot of money, which it might not even be what they want to do. But let me show you the gacha itself, okay? So this is the gacha. As you can see, there's always going to be a character and a tension card, which is the weapon, the light con, whatever you want to call it, and the standard gacha with 3 characters that you can get. We had to go to PT to get the character, because the rates on this game, if we go to details, as you can see, parents rate is a 0.3% for the pickup character. 0.3%. Now, personally, I just don't like this type of games. Like, if your game has a 0.3% on the character, I cannot play your game, even though it's a little bit more, considering you also have to sum it up at the other 3 characters right here with another 0.3%, which is the same characters that are on the standard banner, right? But that's it. You can get either one of the standard characters, or you can get Kazuki Aoyama. Now, it's a random 3-star, right? You're guaranteed to obtain a 3-star within 80 pulls, but it's not guaranteed to be yours, meaning you can get completely fucked. When it comes to the animation of the gacha, I would say it's standard, pretty normal, nothing out of the ordinary. Some people were saying they don't like the animation of the gacha. I think it's decent. I think it's a cool animation. You shoot the ball, and then you can just get a missile. If it's golden, if the robot we were checking earlier is golden, then you're guaranteed an SSR. If not, it's not. So that's the gacha, which is whatever. Like I was saying, it's the worst part about the game by far, because it's 0.3%, which is disgusting. There is no other word. Like, when you're making a game where the main focus is the characters and the story, and you're selling those characters in the gacha, it's fine. But when you're putting them at 0.3, 0.6%, less than 1%, it's really bad if you don't give enough currency. We don't know how much currency this game will give. That's what I'm trying not to be super negative about it, even though I don't like the rates. But let me show you also the combat itself. So combat is probably another of the saving factors this game has. First of all, you can see where people have been dying. I'm not sure if this is just always manually placed because it's always the same names, or this is something Brew. Okay, no, this is players. These are players, because as you can see, Brew was here playing with 3 characters here, his cards, and he got completely destroyed. I like this a lot. This is like Dark Souls when you're going around and you find the messages or everything else. Combat, like I was saying, it's CCC. Even though right now you're seeing this here, right? You can go attack this guy. And when we go into battle, by the way, loading screens, I'll talk about this in a second, because that's also the worst part. And it changes a lot. So you control one character. If you die, you can control the other 2 characters on your team. There is basic attacks, there is Q for your skills, and there is, of course, E for your other skills. There is nothing else. There is also your ultimates and combo attacks with the burst of the units. One of the things I dislike about the game is that when you are doing your burst animations, your combos, the enemy does not stop. Time barely stops, meaning they can still, when you finish your animation, kill you, one-shot you, because they were locked in an animation. This happens a lot on the tutorial boss, which a lot of people are having issues to clear. In fact, we took a few tries to clear the boss. But that is combat in the game. The maps are pretty big. As you can see, you have to actually travel through the whole map without a saving point until you find the next saving point here or here, so you can TP around. I like this a lot. It's a big map. There's a lot of enemies. There is a lot of secrets. Interestingly enough, the game handles things quite weird. So I can go right now and I can see 2 guys here, right? And they will see me and they will chase me. If I press C to go to my inventory, as you can see, they were chasing me, catching up to me. But now I open my inventory and I exit my inventory and the world resets its state. So they are back to their original place where they spawn. So you can cheese a lot of the normal combats. You can just ignore them if you don't want to do them, because it's easy to skip. Now, of course, if you're not doing them, it also means you're losing a lot of EXP on your way, but that is combat. You can also manage to fight multiple enemies at the same time, and some enemies have different mechanics. So the shield guy, of course, will be tougher, and you cannot directly attack him until his HP is down, his shield is down. Your allies can clear most of the content by themselves, honestly. There is also the issue of HP, because this game, if you don't have a healer, as you can see, 2 hits, it's almost dead, but my healer healed me. In 2 hits, they're basically almost killing you. So the game is not easy. By easy, I mean it's unforgiving. I don't think the game is hard. There is no hard mechanics. This is your chain burst, if you will. Your burst animation in Nikkei will be called, right? There is also a ultimate for the characters, which we don't have right now. It's the bar at the bottom with C, and that's about it. That's everything there is to it. There is also a tension bar on both sides at the top, as you can see, red and blue. The red one, when it reaches its maximum tension, the enemies will get stronger and will get new pattern attacks. So on that regard, combat is simple enough that it can be enjoyable. If you like the story, it might be a game for you, but we're talking about the game without auto. We're talking about the game where you cannot skip anything. And we're talking about the game that has a 0.3% on characters, while you need dupes are quite strong, and you might need also the weapon depending on the character. Because any game that has a specific or unique weapons for the characters, we know those weapons will make that character stronger. They are designed that way. So dupes are strong and change your skills. Weapons are strong and also change your skills, which means you might be tempted to be pulling for those, and then it's going to be just a case of, okay, are you giving me enough resources at the 0.3% to actually do this or not? Now, once again, this is a beta. They can change a lot of things, and the last thing I want to mention that I fucking hate is the reroll process, because the reroll process, as you all know, in some of your games it can take like 40 minutes until you get to the pulling screen. In here is longer. It took us more than an hour to get to the first pulling screen, and I skip every single cinematic skip. You can go like super fast on the cinematics, you cannot really skip them per se. So more than an hour per reroll if you wish to start with a specific character, because it's a 0.3%, meaning if you like a specific one and you are unlucky because you don't like the first banner being a dude and you need to pull on this normal standard banner, right, where there is 3 units, you have Enoki, you have Mew, and you have Q, and if you want to pull for Mew, you need to reroll on a standard banner at a 0.3% on a 1 hour plus reroll process per account. So that is awful, and I just will never support that. I cannot play games like this personally. Now, like I was saying at the beginning, it's an open beta. Things might change for release, and when the game launches, we will play again and see what has changed. But as it stands right now, I cannot recommend this game at all. It is pretty fun. I love the art style. Again, I think that's one of the biggest things that they have going on. I prefer the pixel art rather than the 3D itself, but that's because I enjoy this type of games. So that's it. That's gonna be a little bit of our first impressions for Drive 9 for the open beta and the gacha system itself. Do let me know if for you guys it's a big factor having a 0.3%, if you don't mind, as long as the story is pretty good, even with low currency income, which again, we don't know how the currency income is gonna work. That said though, that's gonna be enough for today's Japin. As usual, thank you to my patrons for making this content possible. I love you all pozos. Good luck with your pool dinner rates. I'll see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことです。